Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Climbing Sycamores podcast, where we look at today's topics to get a better view of Christianity. I'm Annie Beege, and I'm joined by my friends Ben Sadler and Matt Harbach. We're rolling. Hey, I'm back. Annie's back.
Annie's back, but as the price for Annie's soul, we had to give them Ben. So Ben is
Take
missing.
Ben instead.
Ben sacrificially gave himself over to sickness so that Annie could return.
Yeah, so we miss you, Ben. But here we are.
Here we are, and we have kind of a deep topic, but I thought it was sort of an interesting idea.
Probably applies to most people, certainly, I would think.
Definitely applies to most people, yes. The article written about a week ago by one Samuel D. James on 3 ways the internet itself resembles pornography. So not saying that everything on the internet is porn, but that just the way we use the internet is a lot like the way people use pornography. And so he makes 3 kind of key points, and we can go through those one by one. But I'll just read his opening statement.
Yes.
The internet is a lot like pornography. No, that's not a typo. I did not mean to say that the internet contains a lot of pornography. I mean to say that the internet itself, i.e. its very nature, is like pornography. There's something about it that is pornographic in its essence. So,
and what are the character? He goes on to talk about the characteristics?
Yes. So the first, he has three main characteristics that both pornography and the internet share, and the first one is novelty. Something new, something stimulating, something that you haven't experienced before.
And that's in the form of what? Content or?
Yeah, I mean, he brings up the bored scroll, the mindless refresh.
Oh, we've all done it, haven't we? Just sitting there.
Yes.
Have you ever, my other favorite is, or least favorite, I should say, I'm watching a movie, and for some reason there's a, kind of a lull in the movie, and I automatically reach for my phone.
I've done that. Mine is worse, where I've been watching a YouTube video, and if I get bored, I will pull out my phone, because I'll be watching a YouTube video on my computer.
Yes.
I'll get bored, I'll pull my phone, watch another YouTube video on my phone.
So what is that? Why?
I don't know. I mean,
it's not the movie is not stimulating enough, or the initial YouTube video wasn't stimulating enough, and therefore
it's bad because a lot of times it's chess videos too.
You and your chess, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we might diagnose that as ADHD nowadays, but
or is it ADHD, or is it literally just that there's so much? It's like stuff, because we didn't have this problem before. We had phones,
right.
Things like this. Growing up, I'm 40. Growing up, we didn't really have this problem.
I don't know. It's absolutely a scourge of my existence. One of them, because I waste so much time, and it's like I can't direct all of that perceptive energy into like a book.
Yes. No, I can't.
Like, boy, it would be nice if instead of constantly flipping through pages for an hour, I could just sit down and read a book, because obviously my mind is looking to take in information.
Right.
So why can't I just like read, or even watching a movie, but like intentionally watching a movie and like paying attention to it, it's scary.
That is, the more I think about it. Yeah. Because, I mean, I've never been a big reader, but boy, I mean, sitting down to read a book, I can't even fathom. I mean, no, really, I can't how distracted could you? So why is that?
Tell the people how far you made it into the article, the 5-page article.
Oh, well, I didn't. And it was my idea. Don't make me laugh.
Oh my God.
But anyway.
Well, but so, thinking about pornography is that it's something that always has to kind of like ramp up.
Oh, yes. What's new? What's different?
Now, like back in the day, like people would get like magazines with pictures, and now it's like pictures aren't enough. They have to be videos.
Right.
And then, there's...
So is this a self-control issue, would you say?
I think it is. I mean, I would never tell somebody that they're a victim of the internet. You're the one turning on your phone, aren't you?
Right.
I think it's so overstimulating that it like cooks your brain that quickly.
Right. So it's almost like we have to make a special effort to put the phone away when you're watching a movie or, at the dinner table or whatever, because it's just so, for me, admittedly, sometimes just so natural to grab and open up a social media app or what are people doing?
What's hilarious is like when the internet goes out and you just sit there and you're like, what do I do?
Heaven forbid you grab a book.
You're like, just grab your phone and you just keep putting it back in your pocket. It's like going to the refrigerator hoping that like more food has materialized.
Yes, right.
The last time you looked.
Right.
It's sobering when the internet goes out and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like a creature plugged into this thing.
Exactly.
And I can't even think straight without
it. So what's is self-control the remedy? If that's, one of the fruits of the spirit, right? I mean, is that something?
I mean, like your phone even has a built-in feature, like you can set it so that it'll turn off. Mm-hmm. How much more like sleep and how better would your life be if every day at, I don't know, 9 p.m. your phone turned off and you could not turn it back on? And you had to like read or maybe like go a walk and then go to sleep. Like, I think my life would be better.
Well, I think practically I couldn't do that. I've got a teenage son who's driving, who I would want that contact. I also, my friends have poor discretion and I get funny messages my phone is on silent, but I don't like missing out on stuff either. So I wouldn't like that. But for practicality's sake, like having a
drawing
teenage driver.
That boundary, I know for a fact that if I just like my phone goes off at 10 p.m. and I'm gonna try to fall asleep by 11 because you don't like
you just go on your computer and watch a YouTube video, please.
Yeah, I would, but I'm saying that if you could actually turn that, if you could just discipline yourself, I think it's doable. I think nobody does it, but I don't know
why don't they.
Because it's too easy. Is that his next point? I think that's kind of like the next point in the article is like consumption.
Yeah.
Is that it's too easy.
It's too easy.
To just consume entertainment.
And what's interesting, and I've noticed this because of all of my scrolling on the various social medias, lots more advertising than there ever was before. So whether that's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, those are the ones I primarily use. And this isn't even, Snapchat, where a lot of kids are communicating via Snapchat now, and there's actual like back and forth, communication via, through either texting or taking pictures, whatever. But just strictly in terms of content, a lot more advertising also than there was. So we're consuming content, we're consuming things, but we're also consuming those ads too.
Yeah. Yeah, and he kind of goes into that too. I mean, that's the whole point. That's why it's easy to see, because they want to keep you on the site. Advertisers want to get their stuff in front of your face. Let me just. He had a good way to summarize.
Yeah.
This is what happens when we keep a board scroll, that like endless just refreshing of the page.
Oh,
right?
yes.
This is what happens when we keep scrolling or keep refreshing our feeds for no other reason than finding new content that such purposeless attention might reveal. So bringing in the fact that it's not just that you're consuming, it's the fact that your attention is purposeless. Like, which means that a whole hour, or for some of us, like 5 hours of our day, however long you spend on there,
right,
that's time that could be spent doing something, if nothing else, healthy, not necessarily productive, but something healthy, or even if you're I'm going to call it research, your consumption is more research based, where maybe you're looking for
exercise programs or how to treat healthy meal programs, or like
Sure.
where you are scrolling,
Right.
But you're kind of customizing and like researching what you're
Right.
looking at instead of just random various.
Right. Because then you're using this search engine as you would
Right.
a library. Then it is a tool, because I think, and I guess this just popped into my mind, is that the internet. When I say the internet's a tool, and the author of this article disputes that, but the internet's a tool if you're using it with intention.
Right.
Like I want this to help me get something done. Okay,
Right.
then it is a tool.
Or I'm researching chess moves and like tactics, right? Like,
which is kind of true.
Yeah.
I mean,
sort of. Yeah. Let's go with it.
But if you're not using it with intention, then it is going to use you, and it's sucking you into becoming a mindless consumer, because you are not in control of that situation. Like I just pointed out, because I can't stay off my phone.
You're addicted.
Yes.
In some people have struggle with porn addiction, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of
exactly.
the same. Yeah.
You're just plugged into the capitalist grinding wheel of consume, buy, and consume.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, I think that intention thing is the scariest thing.
Oh, I think the next point is even scarier. Like when and where can you do this?
Oh, sure.
Anywhere.
Right.
Alone, mostly.
Yeah, he brings up that loneliness.
Isolation. And this is predominantly when these types of situations, when the, I'm going to call it, abuse of social media and things like that.
Yeah.
When the abuse happens, is that you don't need other people there.
Right.
So it tends to, lead to loneliness, things like that.
Yeah.
So that to me is the scariest part, is that it can be done alone.
Yes. And, I think the part for me, and the reason it can be hard for me, is like, the classic, like, get off your phone and connect with the people around you. That your parents might tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an extroverted person.
Mm-hmm.
If I were not on my phone, I wouldn't be going around doing things with other people.
Right.
So it's like, it's not a big step for me. And I don't necessarily feel like, oh, I'm missing out on human interaction. I wouldn't be getting it anyway, because that's not really what I want.
Right. Robot.
Yeah. I mean, I get human interaction, and I intentionalize that, but in my time alone, it's like, man, I could be doing far more valuable and helpful, serviceable things.
Agreed.
For myself and for other people than just watching stupid videos and things like that.
Is there ever a time where that kind of mindless scrolling or consumption is a, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a decompressor? So in other words, let's say you've been running around all day, you're taking the kids here, you're doing this, got the sporting events, you work, you're blah, 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 blah. And then 7:00 hits and dinner's cleaned up, and then you just go to your phone as a way to decompress.
In that case, it's entertainment, right? I mean, like, people used to watch their TV show in the evenings.
Right.
Our show's on at 7:30. I mean,
right.
Same. I think that's the same thing, basically.
So where do we draw the line between a relaxation tactic and a gift per se? I mean, could we push it that far?
Facebook is a gift from God.
Well, I mean, at what point could we say this is a decompression tool, or, versus being abused?
I don't know. I can't say that the internet's just like evil. I would never say that it's like evil.
No.
But it is hard to argue and be like surely there is a better way. Like I feel like that mindless scrolling, there's always got to be something better than that.
But if that is your decompression tool and you do it for, a half an hour after dinner, or the kids are in bed, or, you finally get a moment to yourself and you just sit down for a half hour.
But then you're doing so with discipline and intention.
Right.
You're saying, I'm going to decompress for the next half hour.
Right.
And that's and then I don't think there's a problem. But the fact is that it's you get like a little, I don't know, a dopamine rush or whatever.
Sure.
It's stimulating, and you're just like, anytime you're bored, just entertain me.
Right. And it's not decompressing when you're already decompressing watching a movie. You know what I mean? But it is.
Yeah.
It's so, and it's interesting too, because, let's say you're waiting at the doctor's office, or you're waiting, I don't know, for your Uber to come, or you're at a restaurant alone waiting for your friend to show up. What are you doing? You're on your phone.
Right.
You're scrolling because you're bored.
Yeah.
We can't just take a moment to, look around and,
Yeah.
we got to be always occupied, always doing something.
I've made a point. I have solitaire on my phone. I don't know
Yes.
if it came with it. It's the only game
It didn't come with it. A phone doesn't. You looked that up. You got the app,
I don't know.
didn't you?
I don't know. I've had the phone for years. I've only ever had solitaire.
Okay.
I used to play games when I was like a teenager or whatever, but I make a point to never install any games on there because then sometimes like you just there's like no internet or you don't, whatever. You just have to wait, and you just have to like be in that moment and like
horror.
look around, and it forces you to think about other people. If you're waiting in line, it forces you to think about other people instead of just yourself.
Yep.
I think that's ultimately a good thing.
So I guess the point is, right, that intention is important, and consumption and the purpose of it, and what are you doing with it, and how often. We need Ben here to rope us in. How is this?
Ben,
how is this?
give us a Bible passage or something so that
We're waiting.
So that we can still put this on the church website.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Call it ministry. I'll jump in here with a couple more points that I really liked from the article. This is sad. He makes the point that like you would think that like most of the internet, most of like YouTube, for example, would be centered around like people seeing like interesting things that they don't get to see, or like videos, like music videos, or like trailers for the big blockbuster movies coming out,
or nature videos, or like
something that you don't normally get to see. And he says the one of the biggest genres of YouTube content is reaction videos.
So you're watching other people.
You're so starved for human connection that you watch people's facial reactions to other things that they weren't even a part of.
Yeah, so why is that interesting?
I can't stand those. I mean, I've seen a bunch of them, obviously, but after a while, I just get so sick of it. Like, just show me the original video.
Who is the little boy that got paid tons of money to open up gifts, and like kids would watch this little boy open up presents, and like he made lots of money just making content by opening up presents, and it was like kids were watching it. Yeah, I don't know.
My gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot, like there's a lot of YouTubers that have done like unboxing videos.
Yes,
or like order the new latest thing and do a review of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea.
Yeah. But like, so it says 15 years ago, it would have been almost impossible to convince people that they could make real money by recording their facial reactions and letting other people watch them. Today, though, even basic human interaction is a valuable commodity, consumable at will. I mean, I think that's kind of terrifying.
Oh, definitely.
That you just don't even have like enough human interaction. And then you know that the internet's not good for you, but you're like, this is kind of like a quick little remedy for that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because, like you got to think about what a reaction video is. It's like you're trying to like share a moment with this person. Like we're sharing an opinion about this. Like, oh, I'm agreeing with you. It's almost like we're having this conversation about it. As I follow your content. Like, I mean, I can't imagine what would be the other reason people would watch that. Mm-hmm. It's got to be like, it's almost a stand-in for conversation, but obviously you don't ever have to put yourself on the line. You can just agree with them.
Right.
And then you're their fan, and then
it's
they
very
say
one-sided,
like,
right?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
By the way, the little boy's name is Ryan. Ryan's World, and I just Googled, his net worth is $140 million because he opens presents. and thereby making other little kids envious that they don't have the presents.
Scourge of all parents right there.
Boy, oh boy.
That's sad. And that's the other thing is you can make young people like so rich so quickly and so young.
So what's the remedy to this, Matt? Like literally, like, is it, I'm going to go back to self-control. One of the fruits of this, I'm trying to wrap God in here, consuming, purposeful content. Cause there is some, was it the Bible Project? Like they've got some really great, great content.
Yeah.
So what do we do? How do we combat this? Read your Bible more.
Yep.
On audio.
Read your Bible, pray, go to church. It's Catechism Answers.
Go to you. I mean, but literally, like that's a good. If consumption, if you don't like to read, there are avenues that, groups and social media groups and content that is biblically based and based in Christianity. So maybe purpose.
I guess it's hard. I've seen several people who just say like, I just deleted my social media. Or like I've got my phone set to just turn off on a certain time. And some people just say like, some people are just like I don't do social media at all. I know some people that barely use the internet and it's just for like that discipline where they're just like, I don't need that in my life. And I mean, I'm honestly thinking about getting rid of some of my social media. I was thinking about that today before we read this article, just like, it's just a waste of time. And you get, I think some of it is you have uses for it, but then I think a lot more of it is like you're justifying having it by saying
because you have the uses for it.
I have Snapchat.
Right.
I talk to, I think 2, maybe 3 of my friends.
Yeah, same.
And they're like, I will message them like once every 2 months or something.
Yeah.
But I have the app.
Right.
And so now it's like, well, I got to keep it because I want to stay in contact with that person. It's like,
I turn my notifications off so that I'm only looking at Snapchat when I feel like it. And that's very rarely.
Yeah. And so, it's stuff like that where like, I should just get rid of it. Because actually, I would say that one I'm pretty good at because I just never go over to the page where all like the news,
the stories are and yeah.
That's all hot garbage.
Yeah.
Facebook, man. I spend a lot of time on Facebook.
What do you do on Facebook?
I don't know.
Oh, see. Stalking? Facebook stalking?
No, I just scroll. I follow pages that I think are funny.
Yeah.
And then
I
just like read through all the funny posts people make. And,
sure.
And it's
and the comments and the, right.
But boy, is it a waste of time. And I can't read for crap anymore.
Yeah. And again, I think it comes back to balance and intention, because as I always say on this podcast, I like to know what's out there. I want to know what's I want to know what we're dealing with. What is this? What are we living with? And so I like to be in the know. Because honestly, I mean, you could take that and say, well, why do you listen to crime podcasts all the time, Annie? You're like, what purpose? Why is this purposeful?
It's a great question.
I mean, it is. If I'm doing housework, things like that, I've got my earbuds in and I'm, why?
Man.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel like, like in the Matrix, like the people are like all those weird like fetus things like plugged into the big computer. And that's what it makes me feel like.
Yeah.
It's like I'm this like brainless consumer bot thing that is just like feeding into these algorithms.
We need a Bible verse. How do we combat this?
Well, everything is permissible to me, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible, but I will not be mastered by anything.
What is that?
That's a Bible verse.
I know, but from where? This is why we need Ben. I'm going to Google it.
It's from the epistles. It's Apostle Paul. Oh. I'm going to say it's 1 Corinthians or something like that.
Oh, boy.
Did you just type in everything is permissible?
I am. 1 Corinthians.
Yes.
Yep.
Boom. Don't even need you, Ben.
I love it.
Stay sick. Come back. Don't care. I can do this job without you. No,
that's good. Oh, no.
Please come back.
But yeah, no, that's good. So just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Let me just dig through this article one last time, make sure that we kind of hit all the main points. Yeah, that isolation thing, I mean, that's scary.
Terrible.
That's scary.
You don't even need other people to be
right.
And not only that, but like when you finally end up with a group of people, the last thing you should be doing is tending to social media or things like that.
Right.
I mean, what did we do before this? You're still young. You probably don't totally remember. I mean,
I grew up in a pretty rural part of town, and we like played outside.
Yeah.
We had to play outside.
Yeah.
And it's the reason that I just find weird ways to entertain myself sometimes is like we didn't like go hang out with other people and like go to like state fairs and festivals and restaurants and concerts. Like we didn't do that.
Okay.
We just had to like get creative in the yard, which was thankfully fairly large.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah. Man. Well, boy, good luck, people, as you consume our podcast.
Hey, this is with intention and beneficial, right? I mean, I hope.
But we would really hope if it were not intentional, and we're just sort of part of your routine at this point.
Yes. Yes.
Gosh.
Well, Ben, we miss you and can't wait to have you back. And to everybody else, have a great week. If you'd like to get a hold of us here at the Climbing Sycamores podcast, feel free to email bsadler@victoryofthelamb.com. bsadler@victoryofthelamb.com. If you like today's intro music, it's been brought to you by Andrew Lynch's song, My Name, Hello.